To the polls. Later in tonight's show, was the Young Women's Christian Association, the YWCA, harmonised in response to government pressure? But first, we're still eagerly awaiting that government consultation on constitutional reform. In the meantime, Wong Yuk Man of the League of Social Democrats proposed that pan-democrats should resign from the legislature to press the government to pursue universal suffrage. Veteran Democrat Sito Wah later proposed that just a selected group of legislators might resign. Last month, the Democratic Party's chairman, Albert Ho, suggested that legislators should press the chief executive to dissolve LegCo if it rejected the government's proposals for the 2012 elections. The Civic Party has, more recently, also suggested the possibility of mass resignations from the council if necessary, although it suggested that negotiation should come first. But it's fair to say that opinion on how to proceed in the Democratic camp has been divided. Well, with us in the studio are Alan Leung of the Civic Party, Leung Kwok Hong from the League of Social Democrats, and Frederick Fung of the Association for Democracy and People's Livelihood. I should add that we did ask a representative of the Democratic Party to be here, but they were unable to send anyone. Alan Leung, can I start with you? I mean, the Civic Party has been the latest party to join this resignation effort. It's very dangerous, isn't it? You could be in a situation where what starts as a referendum turns out, in fact, to be a by-election on all sorts of issues, and this would dissolve the whole campaign.
If the promises vaguely made for universal suffrage in 2017 and 2020 turn out to be hollow and empty, it turned out to be something as defined by the more conservative forces, then it will be really a very fatal blow to the democratic movement. So it is against this background that the Civic Party proposes a three-stage process in taking this forward. As you just said, Steve, first of all, we wanted negotiation. Of course, we would like to see universal suffrage in 2012, if possible. That we haven't changed. But if the government and Beijing is not going to give us that, it doesn't mean that we stop the fight. So we just want to say that if Beijing can promise that 2017 and 2020 will see universal suffrage insofar as the chief executive is concerned, no screening process, insofar as LegCo is concerned, there would be not one functional constituency remaining, then we would be quite open to talk about the roadmap to take us there, to the destiny.
Okay, let me just ask Leung Kwok Hong. I mean, I don't think the Democratic camp is divided on the question of universal suffrage. This is a question of tactics. Mm-hmm. And the question is, are these tactics going to work? I mean, how do you know that by-elections will in fact revolve around the constitutional reform issue? They may end up being a discussion of the economy, for example.
Nobody knows the LDP in Japan will decline. So, you know, if about...
This is the party that's just lost the election in Japan.
Half years ago, if I come and talk to you, it's okay, the LDP is really, really in a very, very deep crisis. You will say that, what, I beg your pardon? You know, I mean, politics like that, it changes from time to time. And I think all the political parties need to show their responsibility to give a leadership to the supporter, the voters, that they are going to have a chance to fight for democracy by casting their vote, to let this Chinese Communist Party regime to know that what is the consensus.
But how do you know the election will actually focus on that issue? Because the other parties aren't going to play along with you, are they?
Well, you stopped me too soon, because we are going to give a very strong leadership. 23 legislators will back up those 5 beside. And then the whole Hong Kong will be separated into 2 camps. Okay, if somebody come up and say, okay, I'm also a pan-Democrat, the people will ask, who are you then? Those people who got the vote and being the legislator actually is the political representative of those people who support the idea of universal suffrage in 2012. So it's a very, very strong leadership there. So if we cannot consolidate our power, we cannot consolidate ourselves as a contingent. So obviously we will lose. That's why the LSD are so anxious to talk, to get a solution.
But let me ask you, Frederick Fung, I mean, your party's yes to take a decision whether to join this resignation tactic. But what would persuade you that it was a good idea? I mean, actually, you were all elected on a pro-democracy platform. Nobody was any doubt about that, was there?
Our party start to discuss it tomorrow. Actually, first, we haven't had the plan from the need of LDP. You only got LSD, and you only got 8 Chinese characters from the it's some sort of empty plan that we never in hand. And I did talk with Mr. Wang Yukman, their chairman, and he told me that they will publish their plan in November, and we are waiting. And we only received the Civic Party's proposal 2 days ago, and then we have a meeting tomorrow morning. To us, the point is, it's such a big issue. It involves 23 planned democratic legislators. I hope it should have an informal or formal discussion among us, so that let some people have direct communication, especially when we have questions, we have doubt. I think the two parties give the proposal in a rush, as I can say, because I think we need. I only received the black and white. If I want to talk about it, who should I go to?
Okay,
that's the problem that our party are facing.
Let me ask Anand Leung perhaps to try and persuade you. I mean, or let me ask you a question,
yes,
which is, why, if you were in one of the parties that is opposing constitutional reform, why on earth would you fight elections on that basis? Why wouldn't you concentrate on the economy, accuse the Democrats of wasting public money by starting a by-election? I mean, how do you know that you can fight this election on the grounds that you want to fight it on?